We are Mastering Motherhood.
It's gonna be great, you and me, oh I can't wait. It's gonna be fun, a beautiful day, all of us, let's celebrate, It's gonna be great, you and me, oh I can't wait. It's gonna be fun, a beautiful day, all of us, let's celebrate, Let's celebrate.
What's going on? Is there, whose kids are in school? Is there sickness going around in school? Hello? Oh, okay, it's working. Oh, I see some more mamas coming in. Yay! Okay. So, my girlfriend goes to Valley Bible Church. I think some of you have been there before. I don't know. I was there last year for this conference. It's a ladies' conference, and the speaker is supposed to be phenomenal. So, Ellie Speaks. Is that her name? Anyway, it's coming up the April 20th. And it's from 10 to 4, and it's $35 a person. And you get lunch, it's a whole day thing. So if anybody's interested, there's some on the outside, but I went to the one last year, and it's really, really wonderful. The speakers they have are wonderful. So that's the first thing I want to say. And the next thing I want to say is I have to cancel the kids' carnival because I have to go to a wedding, and it's like almost impossible for me to come back on Friday and get everything ready for Saturday. So actually we're going to come back Saturday now because the traffic is so much better on the weekend. But the stroller walks are coming up. First one, April 5th. And Sunday we did our family book craft, and we really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. So we put some pictures on the Marlboro Mastering Motherhood Facebook page. So if you want to see how they came out. And I guess that's all for that. So I'm just waiting for everybody to get in here so we can. I see Amy's still out there. I'm just going to start. Okay, happy Mastering Motherhood Day. Okay, good job. You girls are, at least you're awake. So I just wanted to share with you, as a mom, one of the experiences I had with my children, with my daughter, actually. If you have girls, Marianne probably definitely knows what this is. Girls are very dramatic, to say the least. And I think I passed it down to my daughter because I was a drama queen. Definitely. My brother thought I was the biggest drama queen. Anyway, so when she was little, she was terrified of needles. Like if she had to get her shots, she would just freak out. So anyway, she loved doing crafts. So I gave her she wanted to sew, so I gave her a little sewing kit. And she was up in her room, and she was just sewing away whatever she thought was sewing. And all of a sudden, we hear this blood-curdling scream. And her dad and I ran upstairs. We thought she cut her arm off or something. I don't know. That's how bad the scream was. We were so scared. We got up there. We were expecting to see blood everywhere. And she's up on her bed with her foot up, with this needle coming out of the bottom of her foot. So we go, oh, okay. We'll just, it won't hurt once it's out. But she would not have any part of us taking this needle out of her foot. no, don't touch it. It hurts. Don't. Well, what are you going to do? So we looked at each other and we said, okay, you're going to have to take care of it yourself because you obviously won't let us help you. So we just left, and she finally took the needle out herself and just walked away. There was no blood involved. It was just, but she was very dramatic anyway. No, we didn't do that. We said she would not let us near her. So we left, and soon the screaming stopped, and she went on with her sewing. Anyway, so down the road, she got terrible allergies, and she was miserable with it. So anyway, we made an appointment. We're going to bring her to the allergy doctor. Well, lo and behold, you know how you have your allergies checked with little needles all on your back. So we kind of knew she was afraid of needles, but we said, we kind of gave her a hint about what was going to happen. So we get out of the car, and the next thing you know, we hear the locks on the door. She literally locked us out of the car because she was not going to get out of that car to go get her allergy test done. Oh my gosh. So anyway, she grew up. She ended up having all these children, and you have to get IVs and all this stuff. She managed to get through that, and she came to me one day and said, Mom, I'm going to get a tattoo. I said, Melissa, do you actually know how they do a tattoo? I said, they put needles in you. So anyway, she got a tattoo, and she was fine. So she did survive. She overcame her fear. But anyway, I just want to share that with you. Your kids will drive you crazy completely. All right. So if you make it, don't forget to make out your blue tickets, and Lorraine will come around and pick them up. All right. So I think there's really nothing else to cover. So after Mastering Motherhood today, my allergies are back. Speaking about allergies, I'm sorry, my voice is cracking. We're going to have an Easter egg hunt. The little toddlers are going to be over here because we're just going to have a nice little area for them. They won't get knocked over outside. And then the bigger kids will be out back there. Okay? So it's right after. You just send your kids out, let them have a good time, and that's the way we're going to do it this year. We're not going to have lunch or anything. Okay, and I'm going to have Mary Beth come up. And I wanted to read your bio. But I got to find it. It's on, did you send it as an email? Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Well, you can. All right. So this is a little bio on Mary Beth. Mary Beth is a Jesus-loving mama and Grammy, wife to her high school sweetheart. Wow, I didn't know that. How many years have you been married? Wow. She's a mama of 5, a mother-in-law to 4, Grammy to 4. She teaches Pilates and nutrition. She loves to dance and cook and go on weekend adventures with her husband in their RV. Do you cook and dance at the same time? Yeah, I love that. I have to tell you, I got roller skates, and I was in my kitchen roller skating and cooking. Because I have to practice. I have like a, what do they call that kind of kitchen? Huh? Galley kitchen, that's what I have. So I can hold on and roller skate. Okay. I know, really. She loves to pray and read God's word and tries to love people for Jesus. She knows that being a mom is a holy calling, and it brings her joy to spend Tuesday mornings with other moms who feel the same. That would be you guys. So let's give a welcome to Mary Beth. And Mary Beth is also doing a gift giveaway, so that's why I didn't. Why do I feel so?
That's okay. So I was supposed to do the gift giveaway in February, and then that was the day that it snowed and we didn't come. So then I had to be rescheduled. So I got rescheduled for today, which worked out really well. And I was just telling Carol how God really works things out the way he wants to. Because it was close to Valentine's Day when I was going to do the gift giveaway, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go to any old store and buy heart stuff because that's what's going to be out in Big Y and TJ Maxx and everywhere because it was near Valentine's Day. But then, of course, we didn't have Mastering Motherhood that day. And then as I was praying about what to talk about for today, God wanted me to talk about a mama's heart. So I was like, okay, there we go. That worked out really, really well. So here I am. But yeah, when I wrote my bio too, I realized I should have put in there that I do dance and cook at the same time. And when I was on vacation, I found a dish towel that said, "My kitchen is for dancing." And so, of course, I had to buy it. I realized it was probably intended for like women who don't want to cook. They just dance in their kitchen. But I dance in my kitchen. So the gift giveaway is actually props for my talk. So I'm going to do the gift giveaway after, and I'm going to use the gifts as my props for my talk. So I have no slides. I just have props. So let me get my iPad open because that's how I do my notes. And let me get I think I need my flashlight. I didn't bring my flashlight. And I may also need these. I hope not, but I might. Yeah. Who knows? Okay. So for about 20 years when my kids were in school, I was part of a group called Moms in Prayer. I always say Mastering Motherhood, Moms in Prayer, all mixed up all the time because I'm in these two groups. But Moms in Prayer International, which is an international prayer organization that brings moms together from all over the world in small groups to pray for children in schools. And the founder of that organization, her name is Fern Nichols, and she would go with other women in leadership from Moms in Prayer, and they would go wherever they were invited all over the world. Incredible that God would just provide for them to go financially and otherwise. And they would go all over the world, anywhere that they were invited or called to go, to teach women to pray for children in schools. And the one thing that she would always say when she came back that always struck her, no matter where she went in the world, she would say, and she would come back and she would say, the heart of a mom beats the same. And it didn't matter if she was in big cities, small towns in the United States, remote villages in Africa. I mean, she went everywhere. And it didn't matter if women were wealthy or poor, their kids were healthy or sick, they were in areas of peace or turmoil. No matter where she went, she would say the heart of a mom beats the same. And I think that we can agree with that. You know, we all want the best for our kids. We want health, safety, growth, and happiness for them. And of course, we know that our God wants his best for them. So I think at our essence, we can all agree that as moms, we're basically all the same in that way. So I want to share with you some things I have learned about a mama's heart, and I have some props and I have some scripture. And so the first scripture I want to read to you comes from Luke 2:19, and this is when Jesus was born. And it says, Mary treasured all these things, pondering them in her heart. So this is just after Jesus was born, and the shepherds and the angels and everybody's praising and glorifying God. And I feel like this is what we do too as moms, right? We gather and we remember and we ponder just about everything, every little detail regarding our children. And I feel like as Jesus' life progressed, I feel like Mary probably went back to that moment over and over and over, especially at the end. She probably went back to those first moments and relived that joy because she had been pondering those things in her heart all the way to the end. Now, before I became a mom, if someone asked me, or what I thought a mom's heart might look like, I would probably think it was like this candle. I don't know if this is going to show up in the light. Can you see that? Yeah. Right. So it's wrong thing. So I got this actually on vacation. So this candle is made by layering, like they showed how you make it. They make a red candle and then they dip it in yellow and they dip it in blue. And so when you light it, it glows up all the colors. But I think before I became a mom, that's what I would have thought a mom was like. It's like to be a mom. It's happy, it's glowing, it's warm, it's fuzzy. And that's truly true, right? But that's only one aspect of our hearts. Unfortunately, the reality is that our hearts are continually being broken, but also healed, creating something more rugged and more worn out from use than this beautiful candle. Maybe it's like this blue stone, which is very small, so I'm sorry, but right? This little blue stone has little cracks, even has a hole right in the middle, but it's still a heart. So sometimes I think maybe this is what our hearts are like. Every time that we pour out our hearts for our kids, a little crack or a little chip is taken out. And sometimes whole big holes, big chunks are taken out of our hearts. Sometimes I think you'll agree, it's just sometimes literally feels like our hearts are being ripped out as moms. But maybe this hole was made over something happy too. Have you ever, I think we've all heard the expression like, oh my gosh, I was so happy my heart burst. Felt like my heart was going to burst, right? So I think our hearts get put through a lot of wear and tear as moms. And this is just one little example. But then I also have this stone heart as well. Get a little closer. Can you see? Right, so it's like crystal. I don't even really know if that's crystal or not because I'm not a geologist. But it looks like this yellow kind of crystal and then this brown, deeper crystal. But then it has this other part to me that when I look at it, almost looks dead compared to the shiny parts of the crystal that are very much like life to me. And then this part's kind of dull and almost like dead. And I imagine that this part is where we hold like all of our struggles in our hearts. This is where we tuck away the things we're still struggling with. These are our unanswered prayers. These are the little traumas that our sweetie pies put us through, or the traumas that happen to them, just because of life, under no fault of their own. But this heart is still whole and it's still beautiful. And when I look at it, I imagine a battle going on. So when I was looking at it, and again, it's very distinct, like to me, the dull part and the more beautiful, not sparkly, but more alive part. And I think it's like representing a little bit of a battle. And when I looked at it, and maybe I'll pass this one around, you can see. But when I looked at it, it looks to me like the yellow crystal is kind of working its way into the brown crystal, and the brown crystal is working its way into that little dull section. I don't know, pass it around. And so I feel like there's a battle, and it can go one way or another. Either the joyful, beautiful parts can overtake that dull, dead, injured part, or that dull, dead, injured part could take over the beautiful, life-giving parts. So with our Father's help, of course, we can allow the beautiful crystal parts of our hearts to take over those dead and injured sections. So sometimes the things that break our hearts, that crack or chip them, are small. Like my grandson, who's 4, he came home from preschool this year, and I happened to be there, and it was the first cold day. And he came home, and he said, "Mom, you forgot to pack my mittens. My hands were cold. All the other moms packed mittens." And I just looked at my daughter-in-law, and we caught our eyes, and I could see it was like a little punch to the gut. I mean, it was just a small thing, right? It was just the first cold day, and it was his mittens. But she felt it. It was that little punch to the gut. And so sometimes those little cracks and fissures, like in here, they're just small little things, but they still break our hearts a little bit. Like I could see, she was like, "Man, I failed," But sometimes they're bigger cracks, like when our children are dealing with health or learning issues and we can't get to the bottom of it. No matter how hard we try, we're seeking professional help. Those kind of things really make bigger cracks. And I think they damage our hearts a little bit more severely. Or when our baby is deathly ill and we struggle, right? Those are big things that crack our hearts. And those things just don't go away. They become part of us. And I think we tuck them away kind of like Mary did. And they become part of who we are. They become part of our story as a mom. And we ponder them. It talks about Mary treasured and pondered these things in her hearts. And I think that's what we do as well. And I think any of us can give numerous stories of the ways our hearts were broken. But the idea for this talk came to me when I was praying about what God wanted me to share through a conversation that I had with one of my kids. So I was having a conversation with my oldest son, who is a dad to 3 little angels. And we were talking about some choices one of his other siblings is making. And this is a situation I never thought I would walk through. At all, totally not something I ever thought would be part of my life, part of my family. And without going into a lot of details, one thing that I can share with you is that this child of mine changed their name. And when they told me this, it was like a punch to the gut, and not the little kind that says, "Mom, you forgot to pack my mittens." This was like my heart was being ripped out, thrown on the ground, and kicked across the yard. Because when I carried my kids, and I'm sure as you did too, you prayed for them, right? I prayed for my kids, tucked right in there near my heart. I prayed for them. My husband and I prayed for them. We prayed over what names we would give them. Their names have meaning. We didn't just willy-nilly choose their name out of a hat. And to have this name be discarded like that, it was a shock, to say the least. And it hurt. And it hurt bad. And it still hurts. But thankfully, I have a good relationship with this child, and I was able to express how I feel. And it's a conversation that we still have. And we have a good relationship, and it's not broken, and I'm very thankful for that. But my son, who's older and is a dad now, and he has the parent perspective on life, and it's not just, I don't know, you guys know what that is, right? When you become a parent, you have a different perspective on life. So he said, "How can you accept this, Mom?" And I didn't really have a good answer for him right away. I don't even really know what I said. But as I was thinking about this conversation that we were having, I realized I don't have a choice to accept it. I can either walk around with a broken, damaged heart, bleeding and dying, or I can let God heal my heart and try to move forward. And that's what I have chosen to do. And it still hurts, but I know that God is healing. I can't say it's totally healed, but I know that God is healing my heart, and He is making it stronger. And I think we can all agree that life as moms, for moms, hurts. And isn't that part of why we come to Mastering Motherhood, right? If it was all just joy and fuzzy and warm feelings, we might just stay at home and gaze at our little ones all day. But it's not like that. And we need each other, right? And even when everything is good, it still hurts, right? Our little ones grow up. They go to school. They don't need us anymore. But, spoiler alert, then they grow a little more and they realize they still do need you. So hang in there, mamas. So I think that one thing I just wanted, the last heart. There we go. So this brings me to the last heart that I wanted to show you. And this was actually the first one that I got. It wasn't exactly the picture that God gave me in my mind, but when God gave me that picture of my choice was either to allow my heart to stay broken and bleeding and dying, or I could allow him to heal it. I got this picture in my mind of this broken and healed heart, and this is not exactly what it is, but it's close, and this is how I started with all these props. But this is the last one that I wanted to show you, and it's a beautiful mosaic, and it's got light pieces, it's got darker pieces, it's got something in between. They all kind of have little jagged, broken edges. And this is more of what I think a mama's heart really looks like than this nice, warm, beautiful, glowing one, although this is still very beautiful. But this is what I think that God does in our hearts. He comes in, he gathers all these little broken bits and pieces. Some of them are joyful, right? Some of them are just humorous, like, Mama, you forgot to pack my mittens. Some of them are huge. Some of them are, near death blows, but they didn't kill us. And some of them are still in the process of being healed. But to me, this is what God does, is he takes all of our bits and pieces of our hearts and he puts them together and he glues them back in a way only he can, and creates something beautiful, something stronger, than it ever was before. Which brings me to the last verse that I wanted to share with you, which again was a little bit kind of humorous as I was putting this together, because again, it's about Jesus' death. And then when I was writing, I'm like, ooh, Easter's on Sunday. So that's cool. But this is a verse I want to share with you, and it's John 19:25-28. But standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, which I thought was I guess I kind of skipped over that. I thought that was kind of nice. I was glad that Mary had her sister there, whether it was her biological sister or sisters like we have here. But standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister. And when Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." And he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And after this, Jesus, knowing that all was finished, said, "I thirst." His heart was with his mama right till the very end. This is the end. Jesus says he thirsts. They give him the sour wine, and he dies. And he was still thinking about his mom at the very end, and his mom was with him until the very end. And some people wonder how Mary could have watched her son be crucified, and I wonder how she could not. In spite of the immense pain that it would cause her, she had to be there for her son. She had to look into his eyes for as long as there was life in them. And she was probably praying to God to stop this until the very last minute. I know I would have been. I would have been crying out to God, "Stop this. I know you can," until that very, very last moment. So, sisters, the things that break our hearts will never be as pure and holy as Jesus' death. But even when trouble is brought on by their own choices, our hearts are still with our children. As for me, I will never give up praying, hoping, and loving, even as my heart is broken and healed, broken and healed, broken and healed. And why? Because my God has a plan and he will do it. So when my kids get into any situation, I want them to remember that their mom will never stop praying for them and stop loving them. She will never give up, because my God is stronger and his love is perfect and powerful. So yep, sometimes our hearts glow with love and joy, but when they don't, They're always growing, healing, and becoming stronger. Because as moms, we have no other choice. Moms are the strongest creatures on earth, and our broken and healed hearts are proof of it. Thanks. I didn't cry. Okay. I was wondering how I would get through that. Okay, so anyway, so this is my gift giveaway. All these little props. And then this is just because it's pretty. I was like, okay, that's just, the bag needed something. So flowers was the things. I realized when I got here, I should have gotten lilies. Oops, I was actually not going to say who the child was, and I realized I just did. But you can all keep a secret. My child, who I named Lily, now goes by Lou. I was trying to keep it vague because I don't like to talk about my children without their permission to do so, but oops, I did. Anyway, okay, so stand up if you haven't received a gift yet this semester. All right. So if anyone enjoys dancing in your kitchen, stay standing. Yay! All right. If you enjoy outdoor adventures like hiking, kayaking, skiing, any of those things, stay standing. I figured there was going to be a lot still with those because I know you all. Okay, so when my husband and I take our RV trips, one thing we like to do is we like to take the scenic route, and we just love to look at the scenery and just, really appreciate God's creation. So if you like to take the scenic route and appreciate the scenery, stay standing. Okay, I figured these weren't really questions that were going to weed anybody out. So we come to the final one, which is, of course, the day, the number. So my anniversary is August 29th. So if your anniversary is close to the 29th of any month, I don't care if it's August or December. 29th, who's closest to 29? 31st? 24. It's Carly. Yay! I have two questions for you. They're on your table, except not this table, because I only, for some reason, thinking 5 tables. But basically, share something, big or small, that has broken your heart and hasn't made you stronger. And then the question, do you agree that moms are the strongest creatures on earth, and why?
Okay, you have 10 minutes. And to go to your book groups. I know this is, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Book groups, book groups. Have a great day.